Does it refresh on its own, or does it have to be refreshed?
It might have to be refreshed. Oh, there it goes.
Oh.
Mm.
Is it the monitor?
Could be the monitor. Could be just the internet. Because it's fine on the going out.
Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna...
As long as the bitrate's fine. Also, hi everybody.
Yo!
If anybody's here, hi. If you're not here, why aren't you here?
You should be here.
You should be here.
Party's at.
Because we're here, so everybody should be here, even though we're late. But you know, had to go get food
And weather.
and then set up and stuff and things. Let's see.
It's
a little fuzzy.
Is it?
I wonder if the bitrate's off.
I might have to go in and change it.
Man, that's gonna get warm. I want to feel the back of your chair every once in a while, make sure it's not getting too hot.
Excellent condition. Okay, then it's...
OBS.
What does it look like on your phone?
A little, just a touch, about like that, only smaller.
Well, we're gonna stop this, and we're gonna come right back. Because I don't think...
Like that?
Yeah.
No, that all looks right.
6,000.
It's a little fuzzy. It's a little fuzzy. It's fine.
That's quick. Connect it right back.
It's fine.
I think it just could be the internet.
Yeah, it could be.
Internet problems, always having the problems.
It's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
A little grainy.
Over here, it looks like garbage. Oh, you know what it is?
What is it?
I bet you it's all the stuff on the Wi-Fi. Let me drop out.
Oh, it's hardwired.
Yeah, but it still pulls off from the same internet signal. That would make sense to me.
Yeah, I can do the same.
That would definitely make sense to me.
No, off the Wi-Fi. No, on the Wi-Fi. Off the Wi-Fi. Good. Oh, I got rough.
Give it a minute. This is internet for sure.
Yeah, this is internet issues. And I don't know why.
You want to fix? Because that would be dope.
Let me go do something real quick.
Quality is boo-boo. Hot Garbo, do, it's Hot Garbo. Come on and see. I have an ISP of 3. Oh, it's so bad. I don't like that. Not one bit.
Might fix now. Might fix now.
How so?
It was on Discord. And a game. A relatively new game, so we'll
This
see.
is internet. The internet's taking a shit.
Yep. But we'll see. It might fix.
I'm not checking one thing. And I can't remember.
Hey, yes. Thank you for coming through. We spent a long time talking about that. It's so from the theme improvements, 100% there has to be a roll. You still roll 12 plus. You get the bonuses, all that stuff. Contextually, the way it reads in context and everything. Oh, okay. If it's part of okay. Well, I'll just have to go look in the Discord then.
If you're part of the Discord, it's been discussed and oh, there we go.
Well, that's good to know.
It's confusing.
I still think it should be the other way.
I would agree. I mean, otherwise it has the same essential benefit as just the
theme improvements.
improvement for a theme.
Yeah.
I want to pull that up. Let's pull it up. Let's go.
I'm working on it. City Mist rules questions.
So we actually have the guide. We just looked at it, but it only talks about when the. You're right 100% in the way we're both interpreting it on the on to roll the dynamite for sure. But I think the disconnection that we're getting on the whole thing is the text that it has in the permanently make the move dynamite, and then also the demonstration that it gives for it when it talks about the pre-gen character using it in the investigation check.
Yeah.
So you definitely would have to roll for the improvement one for sure, but this is what we're trying to figure out. And this is awesome. Like, I want to have these discussions with people. If you have the link to the
No, I mean I have.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah, I have the rules question. Like, I'm on the rules questions. I'm just reading through.
So permanent dynamite means they have the option to use 12 plus? Right, but it doesn't say anything about having to roll for it.
Yeah,
He chooses to use it, and you can use it like a total of like 3 times per one of those. Sorry, I haven't eaten all day today. Per the hey Steve, per the build up, the moment of evolution. Excuse me.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Is it anywhere in there?
Yeah, it is, but
dug
it's the same conversation we're having now.
Oh,
It's
is
the
it
same-
really?
Yeah.
So permanent means also Nate, right? So you also have the option to fire on that 12 plus 2 when you roll that 12 if you take it as an improvement. So I feel like if it is the other way that we're kind of going back and forth for, I just feel like it wouldn't be as. I
What's
feel
the
like
point in
I wouldn't
splitting your-
take the point on
Right.
it.
I
then.
wouldn't spend my moment of evolution on that if it's just,
No,
sure, it
because
makes
I
it
can just
forward.
take. Other than the fact that you're no longer using that power tag when you engage the power tag specifically under whichever one you got. I have one for I think is it personality or expression? I can't remember. But if I roll it, it basically allows me to, when I'm using the theme essentially, to make it the dynamite move when I roll the 12 plus.
Let me do a different search.
We're just again, like, this is one thing that like when it comes to tabletop games and stuff like this is conversations and stuff that you would want to have with like your MC or even DM, dude, because there's rules in D&D and stuff in any tabletop game, honestly, that can be a little confusing to understand or anything like that. The section about dynamite says you have to roll for it, though. Surely if they meant something different, they'd explicitly say that. The non-moment of evolution dynamite theme improvements are limited to when a move is dynamite. Yeah.
And it's. I did comment just before we went live on the post on the Reddit, and the context that it reads about Lance Sullivan in the example, the context on that reads like, "Hey, I'm tired of not getting success on my investigation rolls. I'm tired of having to roll for investigation. Man, that looks rough.
Yeah.
Let me make this permanently dynamite so I'm successful no matter what." That's the way that the context reads when it's talking about it in the moments of evolution part of the book, not the dynamite part of the book. But yeah, 100%. The theme improvements you always have to roll for.
Right,
Like that doesn't change the rolling, but it saying permanently considered dynamite.
Oh no, we don't think you're knocking us, man. This is the kind of discussions that we want to have.
Oh no, this is
no,
100%.
dude. We're good, man. We are good.
That's why we had to talk to Matt before we made these videos anyway, so we can do some of the stuff in the book, and he's the creator, so we're gonna shoot him a message in a little bit and be like, "Hey, we had a question because this came up, and it's."
I think if anything,
Always kinda confusing.
where the misinterpretation, if there is any, or not even misinterpretation, maybe disagreement or however you want to spin it, right, is coming from the fact that they're using the word permanent, right? And
Yes, permanent is the thing.
The word permanent is what's throwing me off. In order for something to be permanent, it always is. It has to be. So as a player, right, for me, like if I take any other games where I'm taking a feat or something or an ability or whatever, when something permanently is, it means I always have it and I can always use it. Also, we're having some weird internet problems, so if it looks really weird and pixelated, we're sorry.
As long as the audio is coming through fine, it should. It's whatever. But
And I think that's where it's getting thrown off is the use of the word permanent.
I agree.
But we do appreciate, man. We do thank you for stopping by. Thank you for your nice words. We appreciate it. I want to dig through mine now, but where's my phone at? Oh, it's right here. You're still scrolling?
Yep.
Oh my god. JD, so I just got a message from Lauren. She made a Baby Yoda snowman.
That's cute.
Internet, I don't know how well this is going to work given the pixelation, but somebody very dear to me just made a snowman out in Seattle. I don't know how well this is going to be. No, way too much.
No, there it is.
Nope, we're
Almost.
getting there.
Tilt it back a little more or forward. Yeah, either way.
Try to get that. There we go. It's a Baby Yoda snowman, I guess. I think that's kind of clever. Also, Hannah, how are you doing? You know what, dude? I'll just DM Amit right now. Like, I mean, why not, right? Give me 2 seconds. He probably won't get back to me for a couple of days, but when he does get back to me, Nate, I'll reply back in the comment section too.
I don't know. It's,
oh. He already messaged me.
Oh, nice. It's very much the word permanent being in there is the hang up, because if it's permanently considered dynamite, sure, it unlocks the dynamite side of things and you have to roll. But then the context in the example that they give, it gives it from the character side of things. It doesn't give the player side of things on it, and that makes it seem like the roles are no longer required.
I definitely see. I need to turn my gain down. I definitely see that it doesn't say that it doesn't say not to roll, and it also says that you do have to roll for the dynamite one in the traditional dynamite
right.
check.
It would
right?
be nice if it in the back part of that where it talks about the moment of evolution making it something permanently dynamite.
Right.
If in that page it also said, "Hey, you still have to roll."
Right. Well, for
because
me,
it doesn't say that, and that's where the disconnect is.
That's where the disconnection is for sure. And for me, the reason and the way I'm interpreting that is because for it to give me the word permanent means it can't fail. It is.
Right.
And for me to have to roll on the check means it can still fail.
Right. And it's that weird wording thing. Like, I see the point of it.
No, he definitely has a valid point for sure.
Yeah, because you take a theme improvement, sure, as long as you're using that theme, expression, as long as you're using your expression theme, hit with all you got, and you take that theme improvement, cool, you have access to dynamite. Well, say you also have Bastion, and you want to hit with all you got with Bastion. Well, then you don't have that. It just seems like spending a moment of evolution.
I agree, it's confusing. I interpreted it the same way you did when I read it the first time, but Matrix Q and Check Greaser in the Discord said the opposite, so I took their word as accurate.
Absolutely, and that's part of it. We take the word of anybody that, we take the words of people who've played it longer than us.
We just gonna go to the source, bro.
Yeah, that's how we're going to the source. We're just gonna go to Amet and be like, "Hey, Amet, help. We got a question."
Yeah, like I'm DMing the guy right now.
There we go. That works a little bit better.
We have a question. How would I word this? Here, I'm just gonna say when a move is permanently dynamite, and I'm gonna
from the moment of evolution,
mean?
Permanently dynamite. Is a roll still required? Oh, me too. I'm very looking forward to the official word.
Yeah. Oh yeah, nice. When a move is, I'm gonna put caps in here too, so it stands out.
And quotations.
Yeah. This is funny.
And there's always stuff like this in games.
Yeah.
Even D&D has stuff like this where it would be really handy to reach out to the creators and be like, "Hey, quick question. Community has a little bit of a hiccup between this and that, and we just want to know which way it is." But yeah.
I would almost go as far as say, like...
And honestly,
Wait for it. If and I'm wondering if you're gonna head in the same route, right? So I'm almost would be willing to say let's say that we're misinterpreting it, and I will totally own that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I would almost say at that point, like I would, if I was running a game, I would almost house rule it to where it would be the way we have it.
You could house rule it either way. Whatever works for your table is the way you should play it. Don't like it if you can get rid of the roll requirement.
The MC says for the game,
failure moves you forward in this game in different ways. Yeah, that's removing the aspect of failure. But at the same time, the moment of evolution to get to where you have one of those, you have to have built up attention five times. No, you can flip once, but you have to have built up attention 5 times on one card.
But before you even get the build up to the points where you even get an option, you'll have to flipped 5 themes.
No, you can only flip one and get all your points from that one. 5 themes.
Well, I mean, I guess depending on how much you've invested into your points and your flipping, I would say maybe 1 to 2.
I would
minimum.
Say 2, probably maybe 3. Yeah, and people go with whatever the MC says, and that's usually the way it goes anyway. But it's also just whatever works for your table is the way you should do it anyway. If you want to fill out the game form on Discord, by all means, please do. Hey, 405, I hope you're doing well today.
Hey man, welcome
We're doing
back.
okay.
We're doing good.
Stay warm and.
We did. Oh, the bot's not active. Give me a minute. I did manage to put it there this time. So if, like JD's saying, if you want to join the Discord and have kind of discussions with us there, or even play games with us.
Yeah, because we're looking to start branching out and getting people inside of one shots.
We have like a little
community group and stuff going, and
I mean, like if you want to play, fill this out and let's get to know each other, kind of thing.
Yeah. So right now in the content cycle that we're doing, we've played enough of City of Mist to feel like we have a good handle on it, and we're making the last few videos we're going to make on it until we wrap up City of Mist completely. So for the next, I would say 2 to 3 weeks, this is kind of what we're going to be doing. And since we're not playing a game directly, we're going to be doing one-shots trying to get a feel for the next game in the cycle, which is going to be Quest, that we make videos on. So if you have any interest in Quest or anything like that, this would be a great time to fill out the form. We'll get a hold of you. We'll try to find a time that works for people, or work it out down the road to where, or if there's enough people, here you go. So go start your own group, and we'll jump in when we can.
All right, so that's what I'm saying on it.
It was a little messy but fun. The first few are a little messy. It definitely is some stuff to get used to.
Finally, I'm seeing my first City of Mist game. It was a little messy. So when I would go as far as say we might have got a little ballsy when we did it. The first game that we played and we streamed, and we're making some changes on that, and we'll start talking about that here in a little bit. Again, everybody, thanks for coming by and just hanging out. We appreciate it. Hope everybody is warm. But God damn it, my train of derailed thought. Where was it going, JD? My train of derail thought has crashed and burned. I forgot where I was going. Discord, friends, stay warm.
You get there.
I was looking at comments. That's right. 405. That's where I was going with this. We live streamed our first actual session that we played. Like we did, like they don't call it a session 0 in the game. But we, from our D&D backgrounds, I don't care what I'm playing. It's always going to be a session 0.
Sure.
We basically just kind of had like the general run of the mill questions, and like when we first even made our characters, that we thought we were doing right, because as much information that is in the
starter
the free starter kit, there's still a lot that's missing.
All the questions aren't in there. The starter kit 100% pushes you toward using pre-generated characters that they have ready for you, and we didn't.
All right, so hang on a minute. Let me just read this real quick.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear whether or not the roll is still required.
Send. It's on its way.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Probably get it here in the next couple of days. I'm curious though, internet friends, is the quality on your side good, or does it look like a Nintendo?
What's the video quality look like? Like, are we clean and crisp and nice and 60 frames and pretty, or are we?
Because what I'm seeing, and I don't know if it's just,
pixeled.
Yeah, we're mega pixelated on my end, and
but it could just be our internet and sending it out and coming back we get pixeled, or it could be sending it out and it's pixeled. Oh, everything's fine.
Everything's
Good.
fine? All right,
Okay,
cool.
it's
So it's
just
just our ISP being butts. But yeah, first games can always be, I would say, and it doesn't matter what tabletop you're playing, they can always be a little rough around the edges, I guess I would say. Because everybody's starting to kind of finally start to put some of these rules and stuff into play, and everybody's getting used to what's a new game.
You can read it all day, every day for 2 months, and once you start playing, you're going to figure out, hey, this doesn't work the way I thought it would.
Yeah, and
every game has its hiccups.
I would go as far as to say is that reason. Oh, our internet's dropping completely.
There might be ice on the lines.
Oh no, okay, we're fine here.
Okay, well,
I'm good here.
We'll just keep both up, and then if
Oh,
it's fine now.
Clarity.
Yeah, we're good. A little bit of a panic.
But I would go as far as to say is that's actually one of the big reasons why we made this channel is because we want to be able to experience these other games that we haven't had a chance to play, and to help people become more aware of these amazing games that are out there that aren't just Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, because there's so many, and there's so many that we'll never get to.
About general RPGs, what are your favorite systems and what drives you?
The biggest hang up for me still in City of Mist is the danger generation and using statuses and doing that. And I'm to the point to where now where it's, let's just go full power fantasy. If it's a big guy, sure, you're gonna go blow to blow. But if it's Joe Schmo, or if you just knock it out of the park on your roll, yeah, you're probably gonna down the person in one, because you're these super awesome beings in this city where there's not, or where there's also normal people. So most of what you're gonna run into is normal people, and there's no reason you wouldn't just be able to go, yeah, go sleep.
So, we'll come back to general RPGs. What are your guys' favorite systems? What draws you to the systems?
I'll let you go first, because people are going to want to fight me after this one.
One right there.
Stop it. We'll get there. You first.
As far as overall systems and stuff go, I'm still learning the terms. Like, I know Apocalypse system. That's like a major one that a lot of people use. The Fate system's another one.
Powered by the Apocalypse system is...
that's City of Mist.
Yeah.
It's also Blades in the Dark.
Yes.
So I'm pretty familiar with that one. Just the straight up D20 system that you can get is pretty straightforward and pretty simple. One that we'll talk about here in a little bit that's going to kind of fit into where we're going to take our content here and next is honestly like that new quest system is pretty crispy. She's spicy. JD, go ahead and break the internet and start arguing with people.
Yeah, I'm gonna start a fight. I'm a crunchy boy.
I know.
Like, we haven't played Lancer. I can already tell you Lancer's gonna be in my top 3.
I really want. I do want to play Lancer.
Like, I will never walk away from Lancer and ever say, "Oh, I'm not enjoying this."
You're probably gonna have some people argue if you say Blades in the Dark, PSCBA, myself included.
My baby, my favorite, has been for years 4th edition, just because I like the crunch. I'm going to play a chess game with my friends against the DM, and that's all 4th edition is. It's every move has to be calculated and measured, and it's Warhammer D&D kind of like Warhammer tabletop miniature army fighting D&D. It's just crunchy, and I like crunch. Even if a fight takes 2 hours, I'm there for it. I'm into it the whole time. Like, I am on point the whole time. It's different. But I know why a lot of people didn't like it, and I get why a lot of people didn't like it. But at the same time, Quest is just 4th edition without the crunch.
I can see the argument of the Blades in the Dark thing. Like, I'm there with you. It's a morphed version of it. It almost to the point of where you can almost arguably say that it's not. But there's definitely still some similarities there. The way the dice are rolled, the way that now things start changing now, because I guess realistically, on like the loosest terms, like the way they do the pass fail would be what's more similar in Blades in the Dark with Apocalypse, right? But they change stuff around now with the way Blades in the Dark system works, because they have the way you can pull additional dice to give you the better chance for the success rates. I haven't played a game yet. I've been reading the book pretty heavy. I'm super stoked about it. It's one of the games that we're going to be playing and going to be going over in the future. What I'm really excited about in that game that I haven't seen before is the way they handle, like, they call it the clock system, but like as a video game geek like myself,
the alert system.
It's exactly what I call it as. It's pretty much an alert system. The way it's handled with like the slices of pie, the clock, the way the ticks and stuff work. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's gonna be pretty heavy, and I'm pretty jazzed about it.
I'm just really looking forward to Lancer, and I know I'm going to be the one running it, and I'm fine with being on the other side of it because I'll still get to play with shit. They'll be like, "Oh, I want to use that. Yeah, I'm just going to throw that against you. I don't care."
But mechs, bro.
Exactly.
But mechs. And well, that game itself, like they said, was heavy 4th edition influence. So
yeah.
What has been your inspiration to play games like COM and D&D?
So D&D was just, hey, had some friends. Hey, you want to play some D&D? Yes, I want to play some D&D. Teach me your ways.
See, even Steven's calling it the alert system now.
Yeah. Everything else that we're wanting to play, or everything else beyond D&D, is just, oh, this is kind of like D&D. Yeah, I want to try that. It's something new.
I'm GMing my first campaign in Blades in the Dark. Get it, bro.
Ooh.
Weekly right now. It's so much fun so far.
Solo prep, and look how the system propels the narrative forward and downtime naturally.
So let's touch on this a little bit.
That's part of the reason I like City of Mist. There is almost no prep.
I mean, you would have to have an idea. Like, you got to have your monster of the week or your overall.
Sure, but that's.
I guess you almost,
make a hook. That's it.
Well, yeah, like, and I would say that you almost play the. How can I say this without sounding like a lunatic? You play the creation backwards, right? You have your overs like, this is what I want to happen. Mm-hmm. This is I want them to get this item. I want them to solve this case.
This is where they start. This is where they go.
Yeah. Now,
everything in between. Let's figure out how it happens. And that's kind of the way I ran D&D, but D&D was more. Here's a giant sandbox, and here's a few toys in the sandbox. Mm-hmm. And when you get close to a toy, hey, this is happening over here. And if you want to go play with it, sure. If you don't, fine. But
Nate, dude, I'm a little jealous.
So
we're gonna get there. And this will segue here as soon as I answer this into kind of like the content flow of stuff that we're gonna have going forward. But I did want to touch on Hastings here too as well. What has been your inspiration? Honestly, not going into too much detail. I mentioned a little bit in the last stream, and I don't want to go into too much detail about it because it's a little personal. But I had a friend of mine that is no longer with us, and here's to you, Billy. But him and I started playing just because just a way of escape. Kind of, problems in life, problems with school, relationships, not just romantic, but friendly and stuff like that too. Like, even for me, example, like when I was younger, I dealt with a lot of bullying and stuff like that. And I was able to take these games that I was playing to where I could, be the big, like the hero, the person that is like, oh, no, you want to mess with me now kind of thing.
Power fantasy.
Yeah, very much. I was 4'6" until I was 17 and a half years old. I was very small. I actually was like one of the first people to start getting like involved with like growth hormones and stuff like that. Weird thing, I know, but that's kind of what got me into it. And every time like I play, like I kind of sit there for a moment, and not to get too kind of like, aw, but like I have a moment where I'm kind of just like sitting there thinking for a minute. I'm like, man, it's like my friend might not be here physically with me, but I know he's still here. So that's really what kind of got me going and keeps me going. It's a little sentimental, a little personal, but there's your answer, I guess. Started streaming D&D a while ago. Yeah. Steve, aka Shade, that's in the chat, he played Deckard in the City of Mist campaign. You can find the videos down below. He and I started playing I would definitely have to say years ago at this point together, or we took a break because life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And bunch of just moving and stuff like that. But it's a lot of fun, man. I'm a big fan of tabletops. But getting back to the Blades in the Dark thing. So I guess we've kind of come to an agreement and like a decision at this point, because our channel is so small, I guess, realistically at this point, and we're still getting to know everybody that's in the community. And I really do appreciate that everybody's come here. It's neat to be able to talk to people and stuff like that. But we had been streaming games, like live play games, for the better part of
a year.
Well, for a year straight for sure.
Yeah.
And me and Steve did it for about 8 months to a year, and we took a break and we came back to it. And then you guys, switched spots and he became a player. And there just wasn't much like interaction there. Like we were playing, like, I'm not gonna lie, man, I'm just throwing this out there, mine and Steven's role play, when we get in role play, it'll hit you in the feels, man. It's good stuff. But be that as it may, there just wasn't really much turnout for it, if we're just gonna be super honest. I was one of the early adopters on Mixer, so I was streaming on Mixer for a long time. And then when Mixer shut down, we went back to Twitch, and we played for, I think it would have been
4 months.
4 months, give
Every
or take.
week for 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. And we're just kind of like looking at it, and like, we're not going to stop playing. That's not going to happen, because we use our play sessions as a way to practice our rules and practice our games.
Learn systems.
Exactly. And we've kind of just come to the realization that maybe we should just kind of stop streaming the games for a while. And as the YouTube channel grows, as this community grows, as we start having these awesome conversations with people like Nate and Four that come through, and anybody else that stops by and says hi, as we start, growing as a community, because that's ultimately, dude, I want friends, man. I live in Arkansas. I don't want to meet people here. I'd rather deal with people on the internet. So, and that's the reason I came out here, was specifically to focus on the YouTube content. Yeah. And, so we had just kind of talked about it, and we had kind of decided that we were going to take a break from the game streams, which is why we kind of opened that Discord up so other people could come in and join as well.
Yeah.
And
listen in.
Yeah. So
as we go.
In the Discord, and we're actually going to be doing it after we're done streaming.
Oh, we're going to do that tonight too?
I thought we were doing Quest tonight.
Oh, we are. I just didn't know we were going to do
It's already set up if they want to.
No, that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. I set up a Discord channel where basically anybody can go into it. It's I think it's called TTRPG Listen and Play. In that section, if anybody understands Discord, if you're the @everyone, right? You can click on it and you can listen, but you won't be able to verbalize talk with anybody. And the reason we did that was to kind of like litigate some of the cross chatter.
Yeah. It's not that we don't want to be able to sit and talk with people directly and hang out with people and everything. It's more of a cross talk. Well, if it was
he's in Louisiana. I feel you, bro.
If it was at a table, it'd be different, because you could walk up behind somebody and be like, "Hey, why did you do this?"
Yeah, you can't really do that.
You can't do that on Discord. Anybody, whoever's talking the loudest has the mic, essentially. And there's already 3 or 4 of us trying to talk in front of each other and everything, and trying to take turns, and adding people who are listening in on top of that makes it that much harder. So we split it up to where, you can jump in and listen, and then there's an actual text chat area where you can go in and type out whatever you want to say.
Yeah, there's a separate channel that we'll be able to talk and like verbally communicate as we're playing, and you guys can still engage, and you can speak to us. It'll just be a text-based format.
Don't know if we'll have video or not. Depends on the day, probably, in the group.
Yeah. But one of the things I got in a Discord thingy that came through recently was like, hey, what would you like to see going forward? I'm like,
hybrid channels.
And that was one of the options, hybrid channels, voice and text. I'm like, yes, please. Because you can do that in an actual call, but you can't do that in a Discord channel.
And you start getting up around 5-6 people using online voice chat for a D&D session or for any tabletop session. There's a lot of it's super easy to talk on top of somebody, and everybody at the session needs to be aware. And as soon as anybody sees somebody else talking, it needs to be hey, no, what were you going to say? Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Or, hey, were you going to say something? You kind of got cut off there.
It's really funny because that video I sent you
Talks about that.
Yeah, it's like perfect. If you guys haven't checked her out, I think her name's Ginny D or Jeannie D on YouTube. She has this video that she put out, and
talks about
it's literally called like Online D&D Sucks, but it doesn't necessarily have to be applied to D&D. It's basically just tabletops playing via Roll20 or whatever your thing is. But like, she makes jokes and stuff. She's like, when you're talking to somebody, talking over people, how like the way Discord when you're speaking will be essentially almost air quote like mute somebody.
Mute one person.
Yeah. It's definitely worth a watch. I got a giggle out of it. It's funny, but it's pretty accurate. Her content's pretty good. Would recommend. But with that being said, the game that we're going to be moving on to after City of Mist, and we have about 3 or 4 more videos that we've got. Yeah, that we've got lined up for City of Mist.
Yeah, we got, I would say probably, 3 or 4.
The next 5. Game we're going to be going on to that we're going to be covering, and if you guys want to join and follow us in our journey, curious about new systems and stuff like that, we're going to be playing Quest pretty hard for a couple of months.
Probably.
That's the plan. The game is very unique in that it is very simple.
Very, I don't want to say rules light, but just very low grade level rules. If that makes sense. Like you're reading grade level kind of, but it's on, like, it's probably 4th grade, 5th grade, you could pick up this game. Even 3rd grade, you could probably pick up this game if somebody was wanting to sit with you and kind of guide you through it, no problem. It's very easy to pick up.
It's very pass fail, yeah. I also like, dude, there's certain things in here that as a new player to Dungeons and Dragons, I've never heard of Quest. Is it a micro RPG? No.
Is that Nathan?
Yeah.
So Quest is, man, let's just talk about the rules in Quest.
Okay. So
it's high fantasy, first off. They don't call them classes, they call them roles. All the roles are based on your archetypal, typical D&D roles. You have your fighter, and inside the fighter you have your tank, you have your monk, you have your duelist, you have all that kind of stuff. You have your invoker, you have your wizard, you have your doctor, your spy, all of those kind of things.
I would say the best way to kind of interpret that would be if you take all the D&D classes you can think of, like your druids and all this, your fighters and all this other stuff, and just kind of take them for...
We have permission to show stuff, don't we?
Yes.
Okay, let me just grab the book.
We do.
I'll just grab the
we
book.
do.
I just want to be sure.
It's very D&D light.
I would say it's even more than that. It's D&D light.
It's the Bud Light of D&D?
No, it's the...
No, that's insulting the Quest.
It's the you drank a beer last night and you put water in the glass without rinsing it light.
Yeah.
So, Quest is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much this is going to be mirrored.
Yeah, go ahead and link a video, man. She's good stuff.
Where it is. So, these are like the first 2 fighter roles. And I don't know how well that can see.
But that's just 2, and I think they have 4.
So when you start, you get 6 abilities.
Yep. And you can pick them
from any role.
Yeah, you can basically...
Or from any archetype in the
Yeah, so as opposed to D&D, right, when you start going down the line, when you, like for a fighter, for the most part, once you start heading down there, you're going to want to stay in that path because you start sacrificing things. This game, not so much, because within these roles that you have... you still have to go through an order, but you can jump through what would basically be the subclasses of each one, and it won't really affect you.
Right. You do have to go in order. So in Fighter, the first one's dueling. So if you want to take and get down to Wild Attack, you have to take Counterattack first because it's the first one. But then after you say you want to get Wild Attack, you get 6 points. They all cost 1 point. So you take Counterattack, you take Wild Attack. You got 4 more left.
Oh,
So
You
then
may
you
want to
can
mention this game uses AP. It uses attack points for
Yes.
abilities. Each ability you have, think of it, for those that aren't familiar with like attack points, think of it as like a mana pool. Each time you use one of your abilities, you subtract the number it tells you to from your AP.
And a lot of moves are 0 cost. Moves go up to, I think there are a few special rules that are like 5 and 6 cost. So you take 2 under dueling, you get the counterattack, the wild attack. You say, cool, all I wanted was wild attack. So I'm going to go to tactics. So then you take provoke and intercept and charge from tactics. And you got one left, so then you go pick up something from leadership. But there are rules to do multiple rolls, but the way the game, the base starting point of the game is you just one roll and you can do anything in that roll.
Yeah. Again, like I'm just gonna use some D&D comparisons because I feel like it would be it makes it a little bit more understandable. And I imagine that most people that are here talking to us have played D&D. So if I say split classing and stuff like that, you can do it. The classes in this game aren't called classes, they're called roles. And you can get what's called a dual role, which is essentially a split class. And the only thing that does is instead of being able to get like a maximum of however long you're playing, if you stick with one class, you're narrowed down to, is it 25 abilities?
And if you do no roll
where you pick whatever, it's a total of 20.
Yeah. They don't do there's no range in combat.
Not really. It's close enough. No.
You're in reach. It's nearby, but it's not right next to you.
Yeah.
You're in range for like ranged weapons, or it's too far to do anything.
Show them this. Like this book is made like a children's book, dude.
It's
it
100%
is so good.
made to be able to be read by anybody who can read and understood. So let me just nope, put that. And that's an example on how the range works. That's every page in this book.
Yeah.
So for your dice rolls to see if you're successful or doing something, 20 is an excellent moment. You automatically succeed. You may find added fortune. If you're dealing damage, you double it. 11 to 19 is success. You do something without any compromises. If you're dealing damage, you deal the standard amount. 6 to 10 is a tough choice. You succeed, but there's a cost. You have to choose between 2 setbacks. 2 to 5, you fail. You might lose equipment, take damage, take from an enemy counterattack, or face some other misfortune. You don't pick, you just face a setback. And then on a 1 is catastrophically, you automatically fail. You may suffer a severe setback. You start with 10 hit points. That's all you ever have. A unarmed attack deals 1. A weapon attack deals 2. Magic items and special weapons sometimes deal 3 or 4, but those are super rare. If you hit 0, you don't die until you go below 0.
It almost has like a death save kind of
Yes.
thing. Also, death saves, dude, sponsor sometime.
If you are hit while you are already at 0 HP, roll the die. If the result is equal to or less than the hit, your character dies. So you have to roll more than what the damage would be.
Yeah.
If a sword hits you for 2 HP while at death's door, you are killed if you roll a 1 or a 2.
Yeah, it's a roll off.
Yeah. Adventure points, you start with 10. You get 5 back at the end of a long rest.
And you gain points after every session too.
Yes. So after every session, you'll gain a new ability.
Yep. You also throughout the game too, kind of like, and people don't do this so much. In fact, that I've almost forgot the name of it in D&D. Like the reward the DM gives you for, it's like a luck, like when you reroll.
Inspiration.
Yeah. So you basically kind of, it works the same way. So you can use what you would call inspiration in D&D. It's basically the points like, you did such a good job here, that's rad. Here's a couple extra points for you to do something that was super cool.
The only other big thing for players in this is your inventory. You have no money. Money's not a thing.
Money does not exist in this game. Everything's done on a barter system.
The game assumes that you have enough money to live on.
You're an adventurer. You got this far.
You have enough money for food. You have enough money for lodging. You have enough money for basic equipment. Your clothes and your backpack and small items you don't track at all. You just, hey, I have these because these are my profession. You write them down on a sheet of paper, anything you could want. And then stuff that you would track is like, you have a sword. You have a shield.
A horse.
You have a horse. You have whatever. Like your big items are what you track. Your big important items. All your little mundane stuff isn't tracked. It's just assumed that you have it.
One thing that I think is really, really neat about this game, because it is...
I have a feeling it's going to play very fast.
Yeah, probably.
I have a feeling it's going to play as fast as City of Mist, only it's high fantasy RPG.
Yeah. The game actually has certain rules that it says you cannot, or before you do this, you must. The game is very much against PvP. It doesn't want to make players feel uncomfortable with each other. It doesn't want players to feel like they're being picked on or anything like that. So this game flat out won't, like, one of the main rules, like, is in bold text. You cannot steal, you cannot attack, you cannot take anything from another player unless
You have to talk
you
about
ask
it first.
them first and they're okay with that potentially being a thing. You're like, hey, I want to try to take this from you. Are you okay with it? No. Well,
Okay,
that
cool.
sucks to be
Never
you. That it's gone. So anybody that may have been in a session at one point or another where they have felt like they're kind of like bullied, beat around, steamrolled, or even railroad driven a little bit by a
player.
PC,
Yeah.
you can't do that in this game, and I think that is
It's
amazing.
It's also in there. It says the same thing about if the guide starts to do something toward a player, anybody can say no.
Yeah. I think, like, as far as a DM, MC, PQRS, TUV,
It's a red card on the field.
that should always be a conversation that players are going to have at their table with themselves and with, like, the MC, because there's going to be certain things that not everybody is going to be comfortable with playing. And there was a thing that I saw come around on Twitter about, like, kind of like, it was like a checklist, like things that are okay, like green lights and red lights. I think that's amazing. And even if it gets to a point when you're in session, like maybe before you start playing in the session 0, you're talking with your table, right? And you come up with a hand signal or a gesture that's kind of says, hey, I'm not comfortable with it. Something like a raise your hand, or maybe like you touch your nose, or maybe you rub your ear, or something like that. Something that just kind of says that, hey, I'm not really comfortable with how this is going. Can we pump the brakes on this a little bit? Because, I mean, unfortunately, some people, they may be incredibly uncomfortable with it, but they might not say anything about it. Something as simple as a gesture, I think people would be okay with. And especially, like, if you're playing in an online only game, like, I think cameras are good because it allows you to see somebody's expression when you're playing online.
I would even go so far as to say always have a backup person.
What do you mean?
I'm out of frame. Always have a person to where if you're uncomfortable saying, hey, I don't want to do this, have somebody you can message in the game and say, I'm not okay with this. Will you say something for me?
Yeah, I would hope that, like, if you're playing a game with that, though.
Sure, but there's always there's situations where that could come up.
Yeah.
Whether it's something personal that not everybody knows or something like that, and one person might know, or you trust one person more than the rest of them, or you're more comfortable with one, and just be like, hey, I don't want to make a big deal about this. Can you say something? Can you put it into this? Can we curb this? But that's a good point for a session 0 too.
I think it's a very important thing, man. And, like, there's some sessions and stuff, and, like, I mean, like, right off the bat, just taking the game for what it is, I think City of Mist and straight up Blades in the Dark
Is built for it.
You have to have that stuff in there, dude. Like, I mean, me, you, and Steve, when we're playing City of Mist, this is our table, so I'm speaking for us. It's we've known each other for so long, and, like, we know certain things, like, hey, I'm not okay with this. That doesn't really come up because we haven't had a situation where something like that's been bad. But when you're playing a game with, like, City of Mist, and let's say you get some newcomers or Blades in the Dark, dude, like, by definition, the game calls you scoundrels. You're the scum of the earth, maybe, and you can get into some really heavy stuff. And, like, people don't always want to be subjected to that stuff.
Yeah, there's some stuff that specific day of the week or whatever, I don't want to deal with it, which benefit to me, I'm the person behind the screen 9 times out of 10, so it doesn't come up unless I want it to, but everybody has those days.
Nathan says safety tools are important. Lines, bails, X card.
Absolutely.
I'm forever a GM, and adapting the X card to online gaming has been the hardest thing for me.
Yeah, so I'm very much a proponent for online gaming, these kind of games. I'm very much a proponent for Discord because players want to have a private conversation. Cool. Go whisper each other.
Yeah, you can still text and you can message.
There's a secret that the DM wants one person to know, or one person noticed something and nobody else did. Cool. I'm going to send that person a message and nobody else.
One thing that I like to do, and it was in the last game that we played when we were playing 5th edition. And I told you eventually, you guys ever been in a situation where you plot against the DM, where you have an idea that you want to do as players, and then you spring it on the DM and they're just like, wait, you did what? Ha.
Yeah, okay.
Ha. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, like, for example, like, and I've mentioned it before, it's the critical role, bomb in a wall, blow up to get inside kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, wait, well, one more.
Magic is considered a card game. It's a collectible card game.
Hello there, Grin. How are you? Welcome.
I like Magic. I need to play more Magic.
Would you consider it role playing?
No.
No, I wouldn't either.
No.
What do you call it?
It's a collectible card game.
It's like Pokemon.
Yeah. It's
I'm like,
well, Pokemon trading card. Yeah, it's trading card game. Is what
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is. It's it's a combat trading card game,
yeah,
Yeah. and it's fun.
There was this game
And
that came
expensive.
out back in the day when I was younger and I was going to
Napping
church.
somewhere in the house. Well, I'm glad you could be here. If you have any questions or want to talk about anything, let us know because that's what we're here for.
Usually napping, dude. Naps are important though.
I could take a nap right now.
Yeah, naps are good.
That's fine.
There was this game that came out, and you can look it up. I used to play it when I was going to church. I was very much a part of the church going community where, like, we made jokes about it the other night. We're like, Dungeons and Dragons is the devil, Magic the Gathering is bad, it's witchcraft and all that stuff.
Right.
I got a little bit older, got a little bit wiser, but the only game that we were able to play that was like that, and you guys can look it up, it was called Redemption. It was Magic the Gathering, but it was all centered around like Christianity and stuff like that. I'm not
I
kidding.
don't even want to. I don't
I'm
even
not
wanna
kidding,
know.
man.
I don't even want to know. That's oof.
I forgot all about it, dude. Years of school has ruined my sleep schedule, but I found a workaround by being able to sleep during the day and night. Stuff get done. I'm never too tired. Dude, I had to adopt that schedule unintentionally. So like now, I'm
Getting up around
I'm
4 or
nocturnal.
5.
Yeah, I get her up around like 4 or 5 p.m. But I work nights.
Work.
Yeah, our job's so easy. Like,
Yeah.
one thing that I really, really enjoy about it, though, is because there's so much downtime, it gives us a lot of time to, like, read stuff on these rules and stuff and, like, have conversations with people on, like Discord and shoot the breeze with people on Twitter
Ooh.
and stuff. What's up?
I was reading.
But because it's so slow, we can even edit videos for YouTube while we work.
Yeah, I'm getting not getting paid to edit videos for YouTube, but I'm getting paid to edit videos for YouTube.
Right. So it's like we're YouTube partnered, but not really. We had Magic the Gathering cards confiscated when I was in high school because some teacher found old sermons on how.
Yeah.
But like back in like the 1960s and 70s, people that played D&D were devil worshippers.
They didn't exist in the 60s. You're thinking the early 80s.
Early age, yeah. Like it was not a pandemic.
They made a movie on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Steven actually, his dad used to have to deal with that stuff. He
Yeah.
was talking to me about it.
Yeah. I'm excited.
It's pre D&D. I predated D&D. That's true. I sure did. I've been around that long.
It came out in the D&D came out in the 70s, right?
The first edition?
First
I
edition.
think so.
Yeah. I think that's right.
Yeah. I remember that happening, and it was still like in 2009. It's still going. People mad.
So
my
happens.
mom's still weirded out by it.
It happens every single time there's a resurgence in D&D. When Critical Role popped off, it happened again. It was this sudden big thing where it's not as big as it was before, but it was this sudden big resurgence of it's evil and it's devil worshiping.
But it's just a game, dude.
Yeah.
I play D&D, so that means I'm a sorcerer. I'm an orc. I'm a half orc, half elf that runs around killing things with a sword. But you don't have a problem with your kids playing Grand Theft Auto.
I don't know.
This is games.
It's just different.
It's just games, man. Like, I feel like at the end of it, like, if the problem should really more come from
the 70s.
From the idea that if you can't delineate and know the difference between reality and fantasy in any sense of the word, whether it's media, whether it's games.
To be fair, a little bit fair though, it's either the first edition or second edition. The book on the cover had this demon and these people with a summoning circle and all this other stuff on it. And it like for the time, I could see where it would look that way, but do your research.
Yeah, man.
Don't assume. Yeah.
Love your guys' videos, and I'm so happy I was introduced to City of Mist as an artist. Dude, the art in City of Mist is fucking amazing. It's so good. With so many characters, I've had a way to make a whole bunch of... Dude, people will pay you to draw their characters.
Yeah.
This is a real thing, man. Talk to me in Discord. Like, the art in City of Mist, like, the way it's done, like, it reminds me very much of, like, old school Image.
Old comic books.
Old Image work. Because, like, I'm looking, I was like, oh, my God. Like, I legit, like, when I look at it and I'm reading it, I used to be a very, very big comic book collector. I'm not as big as I used to be. I used to have a lot of comic books. And there's a point in time when I actually... may have or may have not had the first appearance of Wolverine in a certain Incredible Hulk movie that a certain particular member of the family may have gotten disappear. Be that as it may, we're not getting into it. It reminds me very much of a Spawn comic, actually.
Yes.
Very much of Spawn.
Yeah.
Backstory. Backstory.
I'd even say old Ninja Turtle comics too.
Old Ninja Turtle comics were black and white.
Yeah, but if you colorized it, it very much had the same kind of style as famous comics.
So there's a really dope documentary that's on Netflix where it's like, I think that's from the History of Toys, I think is what it was called, where they go into details about that. Dude, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book is gnarly.
It was brutal.
It is gnarly, dude.
Like,
the reason it was black and white was because they were too hard pressed to make it color because it was too brutal.
Yep. It was too hard to get it through the censors at the time for it to be in color.
So they just made blood splashes black.
Yep. They did it black and white so they could have as much blood and gore and everything else in it as they wanted.
Here's an dude. So there's a few things in this world that I've been borderline obsessed with: Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that was the biggest change in Ninja Turtles was the original comics. It was so brutal because everybody they came up against was a foot soldier.
And they were human. They weren't robots.
Yeah, they weren't robots. They just fucking murdered people.
Yeah. And initially when they started doing color and when it became a thing, like if you go back and you look at the original Ninja Turtles cartridge, they're all red because initially they were all red, and then they had to change around the color of their mask and their bandanas because for marketing they needed to be able to for kids and people to tell the difference between the turtles.
Hey Nathan, have a good night, man. Thanks for joining the Discord.
Gotta head out for night, dude. Thank you so much for stopping by. Join the Discord. Keep me updated, dude. Yeah, as soon as I get that message, I'll hit you up in Discord, man. We definitely can do that.
And once we get enough people with days that match up and everything else, so I do want to get some tables going with games that even outside of us. And that being said, if there's ever a problem in our Discord where you're in a game or anything like that and something comes up and it's a big problem, whether that be
reach out.
Bullying or racism or sexism or any kind of discrimination, let us
very
know,
much
and we're going to bring the hammer.
An open thing where everybody can be a part of it. Doesn't matter where you're from. Doesn't
Absolutely.
matter what you're into. Doesn't matter.
No, not dealing with it.
Not about it. Thank you for stopping by, man. Thank you for the conversation, dude.
Absolutely.
For sure. We'll let you know as soon as we find out. Like, I've been checking my phone to see if he's replied, and he has not yet.
He'll reply eventually.
Oh, wait. Yes, he did.
Oh, he replied.
Yes, he did. Are you
Don't
still
leave
there,
yet.
Nate? Are you gone?
What does it say?
Do you want me to just read it out loud?
Yeah, just read it out loud.
Hey, so to get the 12 plus effects, you need two conditions. You must, the move must be Dynamite roll over 12. Okay, we've got that part. Some theme improvements make some of your moves Dynamite. Yes, under some conditions. Yes, a Moment of Triumph can make one move Dynamite permanently so that whenever you roll 12 plus on that move, you get the 12 plus effect.
Okay, so it just makes the move permanently have those options.
It just they permanently have the options.
Okay, so that's our bad.
I hope this makes more sense. Let me know if you have any other questions.
No,
there it is.
That's perfect.
It's all right there.
That's perfect.
He replied. Did you get all that, I hope?
Yeah, so that's... So the moment of evolution or triumph or whatever.
I'm going to have to go pin a comment in a YouTube video.
Exactly. Be like, oh, we misspoke. Let's fix this.
So saith Amit. Exactly.
Exactly. So, yeah, we misspoke, but, you know.
But it's all subject to interpretation.
Yeah,
it's all subject to interpretation.
And there's always stuff in books that is that way.
So, there we go. Nathan, you was right, my dude.
Yeah, and have a good night. It was nice to meet you.
Get some rest.
We'll see you soon.
And thanks for stopping by.
That's fine.
After Quest, we're going to be doing Blades in the Dark.
I really want to do Band of Blades, but I don't want to do Blades in the Dark because it's the original.
VTM. He's obsessed with Vampire the Masquerade.
Like, I really want to do Band of Blades just because it's more of a fantasy setting.
But we're doing fantasy like right after this.
But we're doing Quest, which is super high fantasy. And then on the other end, like afterwards, we're doing Lancer, which is super on the other end. So something closer to the middle would be good too. So
excellent. Thank you so much for the clarification.
I mean, we could recut the video. No, I'm kidding.
I don't want to recut
No.
and re-upload.
No,
just a pinned comment's all it's going to take.
Right.
So much for the explanation. Sean. God, stupid chat. Don't ever buy an iPhone. Stick to Android.
601 has another. They're all phones. I sound like an old man.
It's all the same.
It's a phone.
That's
What's
all
it
the
matter?
same. Well, you could skin Quest however you want. Yeah, you can do that with Blades in the Dark.
Pretty easy.
Yeah, it has vampires and stuff in the game. One of the classes you get like starts letting you mess with some of that stuff. Looks very, very interesting. But yeah, Quest is going to be the next one, and I'm pretty jazzed about that. Trying to think, and then Blades. Lancer, man. I want it really bad, but I don't want the damn PDFs for it. I want the book.
I'll take either.
I have the PDFs.
I mean, I'm gonna buy the book, but you know.
But I want to be able to open the book. I want to flip the pages. I want to be able to read the things. Straight up going to die in Blades in the Dark and become a vampire. Probably. I mean, it's literally when you die, you can
play to
become a
fail.
vampire.
Blades is very much you play to fail. It's like 10 candles.
Well, you have to at some point.
It's long-term 10 candles.
Eventually, you're gonna get caught.
Exactly.
Because I mean, if you're always getting away with stuff, it would get boring.
Mm-hmm.
You get boring. You gotta tick up those marks. You gotta play into the danger and
Danger zone.
the danger zone. But I'm really looking forward to that. I gotta get more familiar with the mechanics in Blades for sure.
That's why I'm kind of liking the idea that we're doing the way things are working out now, where we have a few more videos to make, but we have this limbo period where we can
read up on other stuff.
The next game to get familiar and reading more and finding more ideas and stuff before we actually start making videos for the next game.
Yeah.
That limbo period is nice.
Because, well, basically what's going to happen is while we're still doing City of Mist content, we're going to be playing Quest and then make content on that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
as
Quest,
opposed to City of Mist, where it was like, hey, we played 1 week, let's make a video.
Yeah. Speaking of Quest, though, too, if you haven't already done so, I don't think it's stopped yet. Ooh, it might have. They were doing another Kickstarter for the new run of their content. I think it ended maybe a week ago.
I think it ends on the 22nd.
You are right.
I think somewhere around the 22nd. I can look.
But they have a new treasure book that's on there, and anybody that's interested in Quest that maybe has not picked up a book yet, they're doing a limited run of a limited edition player's guide, so you can get on board with that, which is pretty dope. It's basically the same book JD showed y'all, but it's got a different cover.
Art,
yeah, different art inside. Mom made me a giant sugar cookie for my birthday yesterday. Sugar cookies are good. Sugar cookies are pretty good. Peanut butter cookies are more better. It's because peanut butter fire. But what other games is anybody else playing in chat? Anybody playing anything besides City of Mist right now? We had Nate saying he was running his first Blades in the Dark game. As long as you guys make a video about how to play a game, I'm probably going to check it out. So, Black. That's the whole kind of concept of the channel. So we were initially making a lot of stuff that was kind of D&D related, and we had talked last night, and we might go back and we might just go ahead and just kind of unlist the videos maybe or not. We're still on the fence about it. But we wanted to play games other than Dungeons and Dragons, knowing that there's other games out there that we had wanted to play and haven't had a chance to experience. Like I started doing like legit, like I went through and I was like, well, I know I really want to play City of Mist, but I don't have the money to buy the books, the guides, or anything like that because times were tough and we're in a pandemic, and I couldn't really get much information or details on how to play these games that I want to play. So when I showed JD, I'm like, hey man, I'm like, I have questions about this game. I can't find it on YouTube. The only thing that was on there was a couple things that that XP to level 3 did, but his was a live play session. Then you had Amit that had his the introduction on there, but it doesn't really have any details and stuff on how things work. It's like the free version, and I wanted more context. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm getting the book. A very close friend of mine ended up getting me the player's guide, sent it to me for Christmas. I'm like, dude, we could put this stuff on YouTube, man. And as soon as we did, we put out like a couple of them. We ended up getting really, really lucky because RuneSmith threw out a video after he had actually been speaking with Amit and stuff, and we have a partnership with them. We're not sponsored, but the code that we give you guys, I mean, it throws a little bit of money our way. I'm not going to say
the 5% you save comes to us.
Yeah, it comes to us. And we partnered with him. He's like, yeah, as long as you guys are making content. He's like, that's awesome. That's how we're able to talk to him, which is super, super neat. We just kind of wanted to keep that momentum going and focus on other games over time, because just like a video game, for me at least, like I want to try new things over time.
In each game, and we're trying to keep it to around a 3-month maximum for each game, to where over the 3 months, and that's like 12 weeks, we have everything you'll need as a player and a few things as an MC that are really big things to know about. Just real quick, the Quest Kickstarter that's going right now ends in 7 days, so it ends on February 21st.
Black says, I want to be a DM because I feel like I have so many characters I could just force people to get to know them. I have like the ideas for hang on, let me read this again. I really want to be a DM because I feel like I have so many characters I could just force people to get to know them. Also, I like the idea for, of course, a campaign. I see what he's saying.
Yeah,
I see what he's saying.
Yeah. Being a DM is a lot.
But, dude.
It's a lot. It takes...
I've ran one game. Technically two before I met him. I ran my second game when I was playing with them.
You're welcome.
It can be a lot.
It's a lot.
But, dude.
It's rewarding.
It's rewarding. It's fun. And if you're like me and you feel intimidated by what you may think like the amount of work and stuff is that may go into it, because you hear that it may be like a lot of prep and stuff like that, and it can be depending on how extensive you want to take it. And you can also sit here and, like, true stories, dude. You will have stories of DMs that put 3 to 10 hours in of game prep and throw it all out the window. Because players decide to do something different.
That's me. But it doesn't go away. It just goes to the back pocket.
But if you're, and I'm speaking from something that I'm looking forward to, if you do want to try to DM, MC, or whatever you want to call it, judge a game, and you don't really
be in the hot seat.
Yeah, that's what you do call it. Be in the screen.
Behind the screen.
God, those are gonna get good over time, I promise you. But Quest, at least for me, I think is a phenomenal game.
It is.
To get started with that.
As rules light as it is, Quest would be a great one to jump into, because you don't have to have a map for range.
There's no monster manual, really. The monsters, really, because they build them differently.
Yes. So you take your idea, and it starts, and depending on if it's a minion, if it's a commoner, like if it's just a common person, it has 1 HP.
He says, I know, but that's why I love you guys' videos. I feel like I don't need to know like 100%, but at least 85 to 90 would be good. I honestly think that 85 to 90% rule is
about the good.
I think that's the good percentage to know, because no matter how long you've been playing, dude, even Matt Mercer, 100%.
You're not going to know everything.
He doesn't know everything.
Even if you know everything, you're
he
going
admits
to
it.
Things.
Things are they'll be forgotten because you haven't used it in so long.
Yep.
Take a perfect example right now, right? The conversation we were having with Nate about the rule thing that we just had.
Perfect example. Timeless example. Grappling in Dungeons and Dragons. How does it work? Nobody fucking knows.
You roll a strength check.
There's more to it than that. That's for the player who wants to do it. But there's a lot more, and it's not a strength. Or it's a strength versus their... It's a lot.
Strength versus dex?
No. Strength versus their acrobatics or their athletics, because it's an escape attempt. And then if it worked, like if you successfully grapple them, then what are the rules?
They're supposed to be locked down.
But what are the rules for that?
I got
So-
fifth edition up there.
They're restrained.
Yeah, means they can't move. They can't do anything.
No, they can.
Or they can't. They can't. They're stuck in place. They can't,
can't
move. They're
move.
grappled. Yeah.
They're rooted,
Yeah.
and they can only attack you in melee.
Correct.
And you can only attack them in melee.
Correct.
And they have to wait until the end of their next turn to try to escape again.
Correct.
Or they can spend their whole turn trying to escape. Yeah, it's a lot, dude.
0 movement. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how does that not make sense?
Because it's there's enough to it that grappling is often one of those rules that it's like, well, it works this way. No, it doesn't. Well, it works. No, it doesn't.
So what if you want to take it one step further, right? Now let's say you grapple, right? What if you want to grapple them and tackle them? Can you knock them prone now too? And now do they have to waste half their movement getting back up?
Like it's a lot.
Like you spear them like Goldberg.
Sure. Yeah, there's a
I
lot
think
to
half
it.
movement to stand up is a bullshit rule.
Eh.
I don't like it. I never have. But it's
Hey,
in the
Fred,
book.
I hope you're doing well, man.
But it's in the book. Fred, doing good, man, doing good. We do appreciate that, Grin. I definitely agree. But kind of like what we were saying, though, you when you're playing with your friends and you're sitting at your table, like the end of the day, as long as everybody's on that same respectful page, there's going to be things that are going to be done that maybe not everybody agrees with. The MC might not agree with a player might not agree with an MC.
Make a rule, go on, look it up afterwards.
That should be the standard. But unfortunately, as a player, there's always, and I've been in this situation where, like, I have to listen to the MC or the DM because this is what they're ruling. It's their job. It's literally like one of the things in the book that says, if you don't know, blah, 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 take the MC, DM.
Make it up, go along with it,
Yeah.
and look it up later.
But sometimes you can still be a little frustrated by it.
And 100% as somebody who's always behind the screen, if you have something come up that you are unsure about and a player is unsure about, go with the player's suggestion.
I would say,
Because unless you are 100% sure, you don't want to be in that seat whenever it comes back and it's like, you had the rule wrong. Ooh.
no, because it's like a you,
Right. It feels more, as the behind the screen person, it's very easy to go from you're another person at the table to it's the players versus you. And anything you can do to limit that shift in dynamics is a big deal.
I saw a tweet that came out about this. It was actually today when we were on our way to go get some pizza. And I saw something, and I raised my eyebrow to it because I've never interpreted it this way. It said, can we please move away from it's always the DM against the player?
No.
I've never really felt that way in any game that I've ever played.
I have. I've been in those games as a player before. You don't want to be in those games. Those games suck.
And I think that might be why I've never been a part of something like that.
I'll rephrase that. Those games suck if you don't know that you're going into it with that mindset.
But it should never be a me versus you, though.
Tomb of Horrors is that way.
But that game's built that way, though.
Exactly.
That
Tomb of
game's
Horrors,
built
Tomb
that
of
way.
Annihilation is built that way.
Like, you're going in to die, to rinse and repeat. It's a character, like we call them character burners.
It's a Groundhog Day.
Yeah, yeah.
The Tomb of Horrors, Tomb of Annihilation is a Groundhog Day game. You go in, you learn everything you can about the dungeon until you die. You reset, you do it again until you're successful with the group.
I think, but that, like, almost is kind of like a mechanic, though, really,
Yes.
for that specific adventure or whatever you want to call it.
I was in between running games. I really wanted to play. I had a character I really wanted to test out. Got on some forums on Roll20, and it was the looking for group forums, and people were, hey, yeah, we're going to do this, and it's just going to be this time. It's perfect time, perfect day. Everything was perfect about it. Jumped in, and it was very much okay, cool, yeah, y'all are in a fight, and here you go. And it was very much designed for the players to lose, no matter what.
That's like railroading.
Oh, no, it was DM versus the players. And I threw a Hail Mary pass, and we won. Because I just rolled well enough on a Hail Mary pass. But outside of that, it would never work.
I'm going to touch on that, but first I'm going to read this. Remember that.
Yeah.
Remember
yeah.
that. I've been in very few games, and most of them were very recent. I'm still a new player to tabletop RPGs in general. If I'm planning to DM, I'm probably going to be running into that with strangers at best. If you like, I don't know if you're part of our Discord, but there's a Discord link at the in the description of the video. That should be there because I'm pretty sure I saved it. If not, let me know and I'll send you the link. Jump in the Discord, man. Talk to JD. He can talk to you about stuff like that. Talk to me. Talk to Steven. I mean, if you're running a game and one, not everybody wants to DM. So the fact that you want to, you deserve respect for that. You deserve some type of commendation and some type of, hey, you're willing to do something that I'm not. I commend you for that.
So just real quick, the meat grinder is the Tomb of Horrors, Tomb of Annihilation. You go in expecting to die, and it's what we call the Groundhog Day game. You go in expecting to die. Your characters are gone. You keep that meta knowledge. You make new characters. You go back in again.
Yeah, Steve, I definitely agree. And like it's in every book I've read for the most part, it says that like in D&D is a major component of that. Mm-hmm. They always say is like the rules are just a guide. Yes. Interpret them however you want to.
I'll give you a little advice here, and it's advice that I haven't shared anywhere, and it's one that I want to do a behind the screen on at some point.
Dude in chat, not so good at trolling. Cool shirt, thanks, dude.
As a DM, if you do D&D, if you do Pathfinder, if you do anything with a hard magic system where there's a magic list or a spell list that the players have access to, those aren't your spells. Those are the player spells. Your spells, you can use those too, but you can also make spells that do anything you want. You're not limited to the player spells.
I hope that works. Fire it.
Because that's making custom spells for NPCs to use against the players is a very big deal. Players making their own custom spells is a very big deal.
I think that
the spells in the spell list are the great value spells.
Yeah.
They're the spells that everybody has access to. Everybody learns. Everybody
the Safeway brand.
Yeah, they're the generic. Everybody's going to have this or can have this.
I like the idea of when I'm playing a D&D game and that's when you're getting into homebrewing.
Oh yeah, it's 100% homebrew. But your players don't have to know that there's no spell that's a paralyzed stare that the Gorgon has, that somebody has. They encountered a Gorgon and cut out one of its eyeballs and replaced their own eyeball with it. So now they have the stare of a Gorgon.
Petrify's a real status though.
It is, but there's no spell for that. There's one and it's really high level, but there's nothing stopping you from saying that a level 2 guy can do it. Because you're the DM, and it makes for an interesting combat. It's like Manticores. Manticores don't have poison. They don't have any kind of stabbing or strength or anything like that. They don't even have spells, but there's nothing stopping you from saying that a Manticore can have a spell that they can manipulate whatever, or they can have a spell that causes diseases and stuff.
There are some poisons that do that.
Sure, but it's more of a don't limit yourself to what's in the player's book.
There's a lot of really good stuff that you can find out there for homebrew spells. Yeah. If you like Google D&D homebrew, there's a lot of stuff on there that people have put into play and they have worked that's pretty balanced for the most part.
Yeah.
There's also some stuff on there that are completely broken and you should keep away from your table 100%.
If you want to make a custom spell, it's super easy. Change the flavor, change the element.
That's really, yeah.
Reword it, rewrite it, whatever. Make Fireball do cold damage. You're done. There's a custom spell.
Yeah.
Or make it do poison, or make it
which
do
is
necrotic,
exactly what some of the stuff we did when we were playing.
It's the easiest
with my
way,
warlock.
Yeah.
I basically, it would be like this. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but it doesn't really fit the theme I'm going for. So what if I just take this and just kind of make a little tweak?
Yeah.
And the only thing that would be changed would be pretty much like the element or the way it was just kind of used.
It's a quick change. Yeah. But it keeps it in balance. Mm-hmm. Because as long as you don't start changing the time to cast, the cost to cast, or anything like that, it all just
adjustments are definitely going to be a thing. Like you may try and you're like, wow, this is absolutely broken.
But from behind the screen, if something's absolutely broken, cool. It was just a harder challenge for the players.
Unless you've given it to the player and just pub stomps everything you throw in front of them.
In that case, you don't. So, good example of this, and I can talk about the behind the screen stuff until I'm blue in the face. So we're playing a game. You're a player. You're a barbarian, right? I give you a great sword that just absolutely breaks the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's enchanted. It has an element on it. It crits on a 15 plus. It has all it does triple damage. It does 6 times damage on a crit. Like, we just break it wide open, right? I don't realize it's broken. Or I give it to you without thinking of it. Like, yeah, that sounds great. Go for it. Yeah, whatever. And you have it, and it's this completely broken, right? I'm not going to say, hey, that's broken. You need to stop using that. I'm going to say to myself, oh, that's really strong. I need to fix this. Cool. Sword's going to start talking to you. It's going to start corrupting your mind. It's eventually going to become, like, it's a sentient sword at this point, and you didn't know it. It's a cursed item, and you didn't know it. And now you're starting to figure out that it's cursed. Or you run up against somebody, and they break the sword. You swing at them, and they grab it and go, snap. You don't just remove it from, don't say, hey, that's too strong, let's take that away from you. No, give it a narrative way that it gets taken away. Make it be impactful to the story when they lose it.
Man. I also like the idea too of and it's not used very often. They were doing it, and I think it started in like advanced D&D and kind of just got pulled back from a little bit. And JD implements this a lot of times too, is feats are applied to items.
Yes. It's the easiest way to make an enchanted item.
Give it a feat.
Give it a feat. Go back to 3rd edition, go to 4th edition, give it a feat or an ability from one of those editions, and nobody will know. And it is this awesome item that gives you this awesome ability.
Feats are wild, man. I'm really curious to see, like, after playing 5th edition for so long. I don't even know how we got on a D&D topic at this point.
He was talking about being a DM.
Oh, yeah, all right, okay.
And I was giving examples and suggestions.
That's right. I'm really curious to see what happens in 6th edition, man. It's going to be a thing. It has to be a thing.
It'll eventually be a thing. I give it some... 5th edition's
years?
been out for...
2017? Is it 17?
Somewhere around there.
14? 14? I know I'm in the ballpark. I know I'm right.
I would say probably 5 more years, 6 more years.
It came out on June 2008. So we're...
Oh, 2008?
Yeah. The 4th edition 2008, 5th edition 2014.
Oh, 5th edition 2014.
Yeah, 2014, I was right.
So 2025 will be 11 years. I say 15, 20 years, and we'll hit 6th. 5th edition is narratively focused enough, and it's...
God, dude, I'll be on my way into the 50s at that point.
It's focused enough on... Let me rephrase. It's big enough, and it's being enjoyed enough that they won't move away from it quickly.
Steven's saying somewhere around 2025.
Yeah, I would say probably 2030.
I mean, just... Why not just milk it till you can?
I mean, that's what they're going to do. That's what they did with 3rd. And then that's what they would have done with 4th, but, you know.
Or they get excited about something new, which is what goes into UA. They practice in UA, and then they just bring it forward as canon.
So I do have a theory on this. Given how narratively focused 5th edition is, given how much people are looking at the narrative games and all that, and how Quest is a big deal right now and everything, 6th edition is going to be a hybrid somewhere between 5th and 4th. Because they're looking to simplify. They're always looking to simplify.
Maybe.
I have it.
You just have a boner for 4th edition.
I mean...
Look, guys, you can't tell, but he's fully torqued.
So? I like 4th edition. 4th edition was really good. You just had to have the right mindset going into it. And it 100% depends on who you run it with.
Yeah. But, yeah, man, if you want to try doing the DM thing, and you don't feel comfortable taking on a D&D campaign, don't start with something as simple like Quest, man. Quest is very, very easy to learn, very easy to pick up.
I'm gonna make a couple channels in the Discord today after we get off here that are just DM or guide, whatever, behind the screen conversation, player conversation, where questions, suggestions, that kind of stuff for being a DM.
Steve says I think it'd be cool to bring some of the party abilities of 5th edition. They kind of did with that group patron stuff, though.
Mm-hmm. I can see them in 6th edition going back to here's like 4th edition but modified. Like the fighter, here's your moves as a fighter, because that's always one of the big things, and that's the big argument against 5th edition. It has been is everybody's a one-trick pony. You get into that routine of
no. I feel that's definitely every D&D character, man.
Yeah,
it really is, and that's one of the things. Like, just to be completely honest, why I wanted to try different games.
Yeah,
is because like I've played a monk, I've played a fighter, I've played a warlock. Not trying to flip it, but the warlock, I think, is probably my favorite class to play. And there's a reason because of that. It's because of the relationship you can have with your patron, which adds some really cool shit in the story and stuff like that. I've yet to play a druid. I've played
druids are dope. My favorite.
Played
druids are the best.
Literally pretty much everything except the druid.
Clerics and warlock are...
Yeah, I played a cleric.
Cleric and warlock are my second. After playing rack, druids are the best.
And it gets to the point to where your warlock, everything
you jump in, you do the same thing, you jump out.
You have no more spell spots. Eldritch Blast, Eldritch Blast, Eldritch Blast, Eldritch Blast. So what's that? Oh, I'm how far away? 300 feet? Cool, I have Eldritch Spear, Eldritch Blast. And you're just like, okay, so now you're a monk. Punch, 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 stunning strike. Punch, 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 stunning strike. Punch, 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 stunning strike. Fighter.
So the reason that 4th edition wasn't that way, and I'll talk about it briefly.
I already joined the Discord. Good luck trying to shake me off now.
Oh, no.
No, you're good, man.
You're in it for life now. So the reason 4th edition didn't have that same feeling, you had every character got 3 at-will powers.
You know what's fun? Neverwinter, the MMO, is based on 4th edition.
Yeah, it is. I had a lot of fun with Neverwinterfall. It also had a dungeon building thing where you could build a dungeon and like a whole quest series, and like it as a with their you took their assets and you built your own dungeons and quests, and you built your own hooks and you built your own stories and stuff, and then your friends could go play through it.
Okay, so there's things about 4th edition, and like we have it on the board because he wants to run me through a game of 4th edition. So we've got the books.
Hold that. So 5th edition, everybody gets into a cycle where they do the same thing every single time. 4th edition, you have your 3 at-will powers, which are you do the same thing every single time. You have your encounter stuff where you can do this once per encounter. So once per fight, you can do the thing. And you have your dailies, which is you can do it once per day.
Yep, that's what Steven's talking about now too.
And you can change those. So if you do something for a little while and you're like, yeah, I'm bored with this, you just change it to something else.
You're just able to change it?
When you level or if your DM is fine with it whenever you
want. You can do that in 5th edition. Like your Warlock can. You can only do it once per level, but you can change out your spells once per level.
Sure. But
Wizards can do it based on their book.
Your basic, I'm going to use this,
I think,
20 times, and then I'm going to use something else
But
once.
Being able to change it regularly and just not have to be stuck with it, I think, is a good thing.
And your at-wills are more, your basic, I hit it with my sword, or I hit it with a cantrip, or whatever, are more impactful.
That's a good thing.
It definitely keeps it from feeling as monotonous.
From what I've heard you talk about and stuff like that, having not played 4th, but played AD&D, which is technically 2nd edition.
2nd up through 3.5.
Yeah. I played 2nd up to 3.5, skipped 4, went straight to 5th. I do like the way that it's set up in that 4th edition doesn't really have spell slots. It's all handled through like a usage kind of thing. I think that's kind of neat because, I mean,
I'm gonna make you. That's part of what pissed people off too. Because wizards and sorcerers weren't damage dealers.
Were they locked down?
They were locked down. They were control and support.
Yeah.
And they were phenomenal at it. But everybody was pissed because you're coming at a 3.5 where your mid-level wizard can go and just nuke a dragon on their own.
That's how it is in 5th edition, man. Once you start getting into Disintegrate and you get like a 9th level fireball and shit like that, they are the dudes. Well, not they, but just your casters.
It's a one-man army.
Yeah.
As long as they got resource.
As long as and that's what everybody is like. All right, you want to protect your casters. Well, why do I want to protect your caster? I'm a fighter. I'm like,
let me show you. It's dead.
Right, because you're able to hit so hard with the way, and like certain spells too, based off the way they work and depending on what you're doing. Like even paladins too, dude. Like once you start hitting,
I spend all my spell slots on this one
paladins
attack
are
to
busted.
smite. I spend everything on smite.
Yeah, that's it, dude. Just fucking tank everything and smite.
Oh, there's a dragon. I walk up to the dragon with my one sword.
I
spend every single spell slot I have on
So
smite.
you know that sword that I picked up, Sword of the Dragon Slayer, yeah? Eldritch Smite. Okay, so crit, times 2, 146 damage to the dragon. Fuck you, man.
No feats.
I saw a video on YouTube about it. It was ridiculous.
No feats, no nothing special, all raw from the book.
You just take the dice, you're taking it, and everything starts stacking.
You do you do everything paladin, and then you do like a one dip in bard, sorcerer, and wizard for the extra spell slots. Because then you have like 10 extra spell slots, and you dump it all into smite.
But if you're a paladin, dude, why else would you not be a paladin other than smite?
Right.
Which is funny because like I make fun of it, but again, it falls into the it's the one trick.
It's the druid tank of damage dealing.
Yeah.
You're a druid. Cool, I'm in wild shape. Cool, I have this HP. And that's gone. Cool, I'm going to do it again. I have this HP. And that's gone. Cool, I'm going to do it. Like,
druids, dude, all right. You want to make a broken character.
Fungal druids.
Huh?
Fungal druids.
That one was cool.
Circle
Rack
of
was
the Spore
cool.
druid, you spin your wild shape, and you get back HP.
You take wild shape, and then you... This is when things get dumb. And then you split class, and you take barb. Because you can wild shape into a bear or wherever you want, and you can still fucking rage because rage isn't considered a spell.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're unstoppable. Yeah. You are unstoppable. I would flavor it though, right? Like, I'm not raging. I want to go rabid. This is some of the dumb stuff that you can do in Dungeons and Dragons, which is fun. And I think, like, that's what kept me playing D&D for so long. And, like, that's what has kind of kept me interested in City of Mist. And we haven't implemented any of this stuff because we're ready to move on. But you start looking at these games, and I'm sure it's going to be easily done.
City of Mist example. You get 3 weakness tags. You invoke 3 weakness tags every
single time,
you have an instant theme improvement. Every time you need to roll, you have a theme improvement. So then you have 6-7 power tags in one session, and you break it.
These 3 weaknesses. All right, yeah, I'm gonna impose this weakness because this weakness. Why? Okay, that one makes sense.
That one makes sense.
That one makes sense.
Cool. Yeah, okay, go for it.
Cool. Wait, but okay. Oh, I'm going into this action. Okay. Now I'm gonna put these weaknesses again.
I'm gonna do this theme improvement. I'm gonna make this be able to have dynamite. Okay, cool. Yeah, go for it.
Oh man, yeah, that's a 12.
Oh, I keep failing. Oh darn.
I'll try again.
Darn.
It's fine. I feel, and it's funny, and like I feel like maybe we should do that. Like once we get to the end.
I'm gonna stop holding back. Why? Because I want to. Okay, it's gonna cost you your theme if you fail. That's fine. Which theme are you using? This one that has 7 power tags and 4 improvements. Oh darn, I failed.
Oh god, yeah, that would work.
Okay, your theme breaks. You gotta flip it. How many build-up points do you get?
12. I got 12
from one break.
Okay, 12 might be an exaggeration, but it's.
That's all power.
Well, I mean, if we're going off the idea that you spammed your 3 weaknesses,
exactly.
Right? And this is what I'm talking about. You kind of want to you almost look at these games. You come up with these ideas. You're like, how can I destroy this system?
Open.
How can I break this?
3 weakness tags that are all irrelevant.
You can break City Mist if you just have 2.
3 makes it super easy.
If 3, yeah, and you just put it on something that you would use. Like I'm gonna put them on investigation. My guy's nearsighted and he panics. I don't know. Something like that. He has a hard time boom. He's nearsighted and he has a hard time working under pressure. There's 2 weaknesses.
That one's a little broad.
Okay, so he's nearsighted. That one works.
That one works.
And he's dyslexic.
That one works.
There you go.
There's 2. Give me one more.
Okay, nearsighted. He's
For
dyslexic. He's asthmatic. Panics. Something like so. It's got to be something along the lines of he panics when he has to do something.
Has to not be vague. Has to not be broad though.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. We work it to where
nearsighted, dyslexic. Which dyslexic could come up, could not come up.
But if you're reading something, anytime you're reading something, you can. That's one that has it. Like it definitely works.
Yeah.
I read things backwards all the time.
Mine's getting worse as I get older.
But that's like the thing that we're talking about is you can you start power gaming essentially, and you're like, so guess what, guys? I just reached legendary status here in City of Mist, and we've been playing for 25 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and take my mantle as king and take over this world now.
You have a speedster that runs out of breath easily.
Your speedster's asthmatic.
Yeah. So every time
dude. He's asthmatic. He has weak limbs. And has old shoes. Boom! There it is. Tell me I'm wrong.
His old shoes, he's asthmatic. Oh, that's great.
There you go. That would 100% work.
Yeah, because every time you're using that theme, it's instantly here. Oh, okay, let me get a theme improvement for this immediately.
Forgot my puffer at home. He's got old shoes, he's asthmatic, and he has weak knees.
Oh, no, he's asthmatic, he's got old shoes, and he's got a bad back.
That's good, too.
Because he's an old man.
Oh, and you're imposing, every time you
need to use your speed.
So that would be anytime you're you're trying to make some type of attack, anytime you're trying to move, anytime you're trying to get something done quickly.
Essentially, you make 12 rolls and you're completely done with that theme. And you say, I want to stop holding back. I need to break this.
This is the stuff that we think about. This is what we do.
Gosh.
And all games have these weird systems that you can implement like this. They all do. Which is why, as a DM, that we were talking,
you're going to know.
You're kind of Grin. You're gonna be like, "See where you're going with this. I'm gonna let you do it maybe this one time, but we're gonna have to make some adjustments." Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. As a DM, or you'll know every in and out of whatever system you're running, and you'll have an understanding.
Panics at the sight of blood. That's a good one too.
You won't know every way to break it, but you'll have an understanding enough of it to be able to see where it can be broken easily.
Polymorph is cool, but when you polymorph, you stay like that till you're hit. Polymorph
concentration.
Yeah.
Wild shape is not.
Yeah, wild shape doesn't work the same way. Polymorph, you change the thingies. Polymorph is fun. So
3rd edition concentration wasn't a thing. There were a lot of spells that are concentration now that weren't in 3rd edition, and it got dumb. True polymorph wasn't concentration.
True polymorph is a thing in 5th edition, but it works differently. It just takes it and it allows it to prolong it.
Mm-hmm. So true polymorph in 3rd edition, you could turn into an elder dragon.
Mm-hmm. You're a dragon now?
You're a dragon until you decide not to be.
Or if con doesn't break you, stay that way until HP is gone. Yeah. Yep.
3rd edition has some. 3rd edition was so breakable.
I think
wizards, sorcerers, druids, and bards in 3rd edition.
The way not con saves, but con checks work on spells and stuff in 5th edition is also one of those things where you can power game too. And once it's not going to be right off the bat, but once you become a mid-tier character, you'll break it right off the bat.
Every game, every character I build, my top stat is Constitution.
Well,
I have a +4, +5 in Constitution.
So you're starting with a 5, and most times when you're doing the checks, minus you getting hit. So I know it works differently based on when you're attacked and stuff, but for the most part, you basically just need to roll above a 10, depending on the situation. So
flip a coin.
You might as well.
No, because start finding magic items and getting other improvements and start taking feats and stuff, bruh.
Do I really need to make a contract? Well, I think it was an episode of Critical Role
Because that's always like
where that was happening.
every D&D character I make now, because of 5th edition, con is my high stat.
She cast what's her name? Laura Bailey cast polymorph on something, and this is kind of what we're talking about. It was one of the last episodes I watched before I listened to before I came out here. She cast polymorph on something, and she had like an automatic base check of 11.
Still fails on a 1.
And that's all she was rolling for.
Yeah.
And she's like, and Matt's like, well, you'll still fail on 1. And then you're just like,
now the
9, 8, 6, 5, 4, 7.
Yeah. The reverse of that doesn't work, and that's one thing that a lot of people don't know. Base rules D&D at 20 is not an automatic success on skill checks.
It's just a number, right?
It's just a number.
Yeah.
A 1 is an automatic failure on a skill check, but a 20 is not an automatic success.
No, because back in the day when you were rolling for stuff, like, even still now.
I have skill checks in the game that we were playing. There were skill checks that y'all were doing that were 30 or above.
Yeah, and okay, so this is one thing that you're talking about that I don't really like about 5th edition. Because the 20 is an instant success, you're like, okay. But in 5th edition, it is.
Not on skill checks.
Is that accurate?
That's accurate. It's an instant hit on an attack. It's always a critical hit. On skill checks, it's just a number. I'll double check it to make sure, but I'm 90% sure.
But what I'm talking to about right now is specifically when it comes to like attacks and stuff like that. Like you can sit here and without hitting the 20, you won't hit, but you have to hit the 20 to hit. Instead of it just being a standard hit, it becomes a critical hit. I think it's kind of weird. Steve says you're right. It's just a number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that is right because you can still fail like lockpick stuff even
if the lock is advanced enough.
Yeah, that's right. That's accurate. That's right.
But most tables
they'll take it as a success.
It's an automatic success, which is how you run into the bard trope. Where, I rolled a 20, I seduced the dragon. No, you don't.
But do you think, though, with that being said, though, like, with when something, a DC check is exactly what this goes, when you're rolling a DC check on that for a difficulty check, do you think then at that point, then, like, as a player, like, if I know I can't succeed at all, would you ever tell a player that they can't succeed even if they roll a natural 20?
Yes, you don't even let them roll.
Bingo. So then it doesn't come up. You can just say this lock is impossible to break.
Yep. They walk up to it. They say, "Oh, cool. Can I pick the lock?" No, sorry. With your skill and how advanced this door is, there's no way you'll ever get through it.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be the right way to handle that. But I do think you're right, though. They handle the natural 20s as the Hail Mary pass, and somehow or another that it just works. I straight told people you can't beat a check.
Yep, that's the way to do it. You just tell them there's nothing you could do to break the.
Then it's not a check at that point.
No, you just say, "No, sorry, you can't roll for that. You wouldn't be able to succeed."
And this also goes back to the whole like one thing that bugs me, and I don't like it as a player, and like having been in a DM seat and seeing it done too, it bugs me. Is players rolling ahead of being asked for rolls. Because you're like, well, I just rolled a natural 20 on that. You're like, cool. Now we have to have the conversation about why that doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Versus if we had, gone through the steps and stuff like that, I would have said you wouldn't have the roll to begin with.
So on top of that, the way passive perception is a thing.
Player rolls a 20 for seducing a dragon. Dragon thinks you're a snack. I get it. Seducing snack. There's a joke there. Make a new character sheet. You've been eaten.
100%. Or you go even a step further. Cool, yeah. There's half dragons in the world. By all means, you seduce a dragon. You die from the experience.
That's your jam.
Because it's a dragon.
Dragonborns are a real thing.
So they're not dragon-born? They're their own thing? A half dragon is a half whatever, and the other half of it is a dragon that was polymorphed into human. And they did the deed.
That's the lore, probably.
Yes. So a dragonborn dragons are their ancestors. They're the dragons are the monkey and we are the ancestors.
Mm.
So the dragon's the monkey, we're the dragonborn kind of thing.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's the dragonborn.
I never played a Dragonborn character.
Dragonborns are kind of cool.
Never played one.
The getting the resistance is kind of cool. The dragon breath is.
Everybody I know that's ever played a Dragonborn has always worked with like the DM to fix that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of whack.
Yeah. I can't find it in there right now. I can look later. But.
Breath weapon can be cool.
Yeah, the breath was neat, and that's the reason a lot of people take it. It's overrated.
It's not that strong.
It's not that strong. It's not strong enough, honestly. It should scale with your level a little bit. Then it doesn't scale with your level at all. On top of that, it doesn't reach far enough, given your size. And the best thing about Dragonborn is the resistances. If you play where they get the elemental resistances.
Dude, most people that even play D&D when they're playing, like, for their character... Like you're playing with somebody and like just knowing certain things that your character would either that they would excel at based off of their race, for example, right? Then you would know that certain characters based off the race will have resistances to certain things. Very few people do I ever even see implement those resistance when they get hit and stuff like that.
Everybody forgets because there's so much to remember.
Yeah.
Everybody forgets super easy.
Like, oh, don't you have resistance to fire?
I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah. Wait, no, yeah, you're right. I do. I'm fucking Dragonborn.
Tieflings, reflavored tieflings that have different elemental resistances are super cool.
Yeah.
I've always liked the idea of that, like a lightning tiefling or an ice tiefling or poison tiefling, stuff like that, because there's no reason that they couldn't exist.
Also, the way poison is in 5th edition is boo-boo.
Busted. The fact that they're another
It's
big thing.
boo-boo.
Another really big thing about 4th edition that I love. There's dots.
It's got tick damage.
It's got tick damage. You can do burns. You can do poisons. You can do shocks. You can do like a creeping cold kind of thing.
Yeah, stuff like that, Steven, yeah. And that was, so the poison things also, they kept them from getting drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you were immune to poison and disease, you couldn't get drunk.
Yep.
Which
Very
means
true.
that monks could never get drunk. So
No, they can't.
So the drunken monk didn't work back then?
So, no, and you're talking about to have that, and that happens...
It's the perfect
12?
body.
Yeah, I think it's at level 12 you get perfect body where you become immune to
now
poison.
it is. Before it was like level 10, if I remember right.
It's either 10 or 12. I know you're in the ballpark in 5th edition.
It was 10. Not 3rd edition.
But for 5th.
Oh. Yeah. I can look.
Yeah.
I think it's 12.
Perfect. It's definitely called perfect body. It's either 10 or 12 where you can't get hammered. You also, like... Monks are so cool for what they can do for themselves, and for like quick burst damage is tight.
Purity of body is 10th.
It's 10th? Okay. And they're super cool. Like the clarity of mind, where you can shake off like any type of status based off of a roll, I think is cool. But once you've burned all your key points, you can't really do much except for punch and get out. Well, you can't even leave anymore because you no longer have Step of the Wind.
And you don't have enough key points.
You never have enough key points.
Yay, homebrewing.
Yeah. Yay for homebrew.
And power fantasy and me liking that kind of play.
That's a true story. So we said we're doing quests, then we're going to do blades. What else?
Don't be afraid of messing up as a DM.
Or a player.
Don't be afraid of dying
Yeah.
as a player.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of killing a player as a DM. Don't fudge rolls.
Yeah, it's a dick move from a DM spot and a player spot, especially when you're playing online.
There are few exceptions to that, but don't fudge rolls.
What are your exceptions to fudging a roll then? What's your argument? If you're saying don't do it, but do it.
If you made a mistake in your prep.
Okay.
If you made a mistake where your big bad doesn't have enough HP and they nuke it. Or, well, sure, it has more HP.
Like, I'm going to just...
We're just going to add a 1 to the front of that. Oh, we're going to add a second 1 to the front of that.
Turns out that spell I gave this guy is really busted.
Fudging a roll in favor of the players when done correctly, it can be okay.
You mean like if there's a consequence, you're like, this could be bad, but I don't really want to kill them off just yet?
No. You should never work to save the players.
You should also never work against them.
Right. you should work to empower the players. So if something happens and it's this big moment and it's this big ultimate move, it's going to be amazing. And the story up to this point, it's supposed to kill the big bad in one hit and all this stuff. And it doesn't. And you're not prepared for it not to. No, yeah, it totally kills them. Now, if you've got a plan on the back burner that has everything you need to say, they look at you and grin and just pull the blade out and nothing happens. And you've got this whole other secondary arc where it's like, no, the weapon doesn't work and you have to find another way to kill them. Sure, go for it by all means. But if you've set it up to where it's supposed to kill them and that's the plan, and then it doesn't because the roll, no, it kills them. Don't base your story on the dice entirely.
I think narrative death.
Death is a thing, and it should work.
It can work as an NPC for sure. It can be, or not work, but it can be done with an NPC, or it can be even done with a PC. I feel like
it's just like the hostage situation.
Yeah.
If Big Bad has a hostage and has a knife to their throat and says, "Back off, or they're dead," and you say, "Oh, it's fine. We'll just run in, and then whenever they die, we can revive them." No, you can't. They're dead.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what's the point? Death
There's
has
no
value.
consequence. Yeah.
Death should always have meaning.
Yeah, it should definitely have impact on the game. It should have an impact on the players. And when it happens in game, I definitely think the players should take that moment to kind of mourn for that other player's character. I mean, that dude or that lady or that person,
even that, it should always be the stakes have consequence.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, whoever that player is, they have obviously literally put time and effort into this game, taking time out of their day, spend time with you to build this character, work through this adventure and stuff. Like, it's one thing, like, hey, well, fuck, it's dead, whatever. I'm like, dude, I'd be so bummed out if I'm sitting here like level 16 whatever, and then now I'm dead after, dude, getting level 16. That is a chug. That is some chug.
It depends on how you play, but yeah.
I mean, unless you're starting like buff, but like if you're starting from like level 1 and running to like 16, like I've never played a game where I've gone from 1 all the way to 20. I've gone from 1 and like, hey guys, let's just have a fuck all day. Let's just play level 20 characters. Yeah.
5th edition is rough at low level.
It's not balanced right. I don't think it doesn't feel right
until 4th.
Until 4th level?
3rd. A lot of people say 3rd.
When you get to the feat section,
I say 4th because 4th level you have enough HP pool that it balances itself out. 3rd, you're getting close, but there's still some. But
lack of water spells because there isn't any. It's ice. Really makes way for. Yeah, it's true.
So we actually had a discussion about this when you were playing a monk, and a little bit after. Way of the 4 elements should be not a subclass.
Yeah, you were talking about having it as a
It should be built into the monk as a whole.
And it's one that nobody uses.
That's because because it's useless on its own.
And the Radiant Monk, the one that I tried, I was like, I don't really like this one. It's basically a Saiyan.
I love that one.
But why?
Because all of your attacks have 30-foot range.
Not all of them, and you can only use one of them. It basically works like a spell, and it's basically Radiant Punch, and it's 30, and then it only has limited use.
Yeah, but I like it.
But it's limited use; it runs out.
Yeah, but
because it uses key points.
The other options that to go with that one, I really like. I really like the flavor on that one. It's not strong, but I like it.
No.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
10 Candles.
10 Candles is going to be good.
When we finally get to.
I don't want to play that one over the internet. I want to play that one in person.
And we'll do a camera setup, and we'll make it all nice and fancy and stuff.
Dude, just play in a dark room and just use
we'll black this place out, and all we'll have is the candles for light.
That'd be good.
We'll do pre-recordings and stuff. It'll be
Dread.
cool.
You and the damn Dread Tower, I swear. Tower of Dread. I don't want to play Tower of Dread. Depends on the class. Some classes get cool powers at second. Who gets Billy's at second level?
Fighter.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Because Fighter. Why? Because Fighter.
Fighter's the most broken class in the whole game.
Why do you think everybody takes dips in it when they want to do any type of melee combat?
Yep.
Like, it's either Fighter or Barb, dude. Fighter or Barb. Fighter, Barb. Mm-mm. Fighter, Barb.
Fighter.
But Fighter first, yeah.
I would even say
Druid.
Don't.
A Paladin, yeah. Polyclerics.
Don't take a dip. You do 2 levels Fighter and then you switch, or you do 3 levels Fighter and
just
then you
to
switch.
get the.
Because you start with all the armors. and all the weapons.
Yeah, and you just switch off once you get your second attack, because fighters get double attack the quickest.
Yep. But nobody takes 5 in fighter though. Usually.
Is it
Usually
fifth?
it's 3 or 4.
I thought they get theirs at
Or
third.
usually you do a 2-dip or a 3-dip.
3, yeah.
If you do a 2-dip, you get action surge and second
That's
wind
the
and all
one.
that. If you do a 3-dip, you go champion fighter and you get 1920 crit.
You get the 1920 quit, but isn't also when you get your second attack, you get it at 3?
I
But I
don't
think you
remember.
get most of that at most of the.
No, you get it at 5. They just get an extra one at the end.
They get a total of 4, right? Fighters are weird, man. But I think that might be about it.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks for joining the Discord. We're gonna go and play some quests
Stuff.
now.
And I'm going to work on the Discord and get those other 2 channels in there because I feel
So-
like those channels are important.
We gonna do that. If you want to join in the Discord chat, I'll put the Discord doodad here again. We're gonna be in the
Listen in. There's
listen in channel.
by all means, if you don't have anything to do or just want to hang out or just want to listen in the back end, listen in because this is going to be new to us. I will have to figure out how we're going to get the audio set up for it.
They'll be able to hear it. We just need one mic. We can use the mic in the laptop. It'll sound like doo-doo, but
That's fair.
they'll be able to hear it.
That's fair.
And then because the only person that's going to be in there, I don't know if Jax is going to be there, but Devin will be.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, everybody, thank you for stopping by. We appreciate the conversation. If you have any questions, quandaries, concerns, talk to us, man. That's what we're here for. It's been a good chit chat. Been here for about 2 hours. Thank you all so much. We're going to go ahead and bounce out. Stay awesome, be excellent, and love each other. Laters on the men, Jay.
I'm going to go eat some more.